Mosley Show, Rogue Media Network. And it's a great pleasure of mine to bring on another member of the network. He helped recruit me to this fine place. Let's see what kind of warehouse he's in. Look at that. I love that. The ceiling's there. Man that loves a good exposed ceiling. Pete Sousa joining the Mosley Show. Pete, I've missed talking to you. Used to be almost a weekly thing. You must have found another Cowboys guest and moved on there. But the Cowboys now sitting at 1-1. And how are you, man? Welcome back to the Mosley Show. As Scotty and I mean, you're 10 o'clock every morning. Scotty then has to shift to Mosley. Of course, then I'm bothering him during your show. I mean, you and I brought up the thought of like us just joining forces, people continuing to try to keep us apart. They do not want us banding together. But
they don't.
I just think it would be such an unstoppable force. But they've done everything in their power to keep us apart. But thanks for coming on today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you look really nice. Yeah.
What do you mean by that? I mean,
you look nice. You do.
I asked Scotty earlier today. I really did. I said, "Does Pete ever do shows with ball caps on?" And he's like, "Well, in the early days, he did a little bit, but I haven't seen him do that in a long time." And that may have inspired me running down before the show to put a little. To get my wife, by the way, hates the wet look. Like I'll sometimes go on with Cowherd, and I haven't given it enough time to dry.
You slick look when you mean business, you go Gordon Gekko. I love it.
The wet look is very bothersome to her, but occasionally I'll have to do it real quick, and even the towel dry doesn't quite get it done. But Pete, is it true that you may make an appearance out at the Baylor game on Saturday? You're always getting called into things, and you never know where ESPN will have you week to week.
I do not have a game this weekend, so I will be there for the pregame show whenever I'm needed. I will be there.
Okay. Yeah, it's like I'm very happy about that, but I'm also like it's kind of weird because ESPN. Well, no, I'm just saying, like, I was even hearing you do some of those calls on that, like Rice did some kind of your end around, and I loved some of your calls. And so that blows me away for you not to be on a game. But we'll take you. We love having you. And that'll be exciting to be out there. And I think you'll love the setup because I think we're going straight YouTube this week. And so there's going to be a looseness to it. You know, Pete, with me, I'm always pretty loose. I think Scotty would prefer I stop being quite so loose.
Me too.
With you TV guys, there's like, you got to hit this, you got to do this, you got to do this. And of course, I am so not that guy. But Pete, I get the feeling that this Baylor Arizona State game, and I know there's some other really good games this week, but I think Arizona State just did not put its best foot forward. They ran into a tough situation in Starkville to open the season. Like, there's nothing keeping Arizona State from being like a really, really good team at the end of the year. And so, to me, this is an enormous opportunity for both of these teams coming up at McLean Stadium Saturday night.
Well, I think it's a gut check for both of these teams. Scotty and I talked about it on my show. There's a couple really big games this week that'll be a litmus test. I think for Texas Tech and Utah, that is a huge appointment in Salt Lake City, right? You got big noon kickoff. You have two teams that are undefeated who we're still not sure who they are. And I think with Baylor and Arizona State, you have the same thing. We're still trying to figure out, at least I am, how good Sam Levitt is, how good the offense is without Cam Scatteraboo when you get into like a bare knuckle brawl in conference play. And then with Baylor, the defense has been so disappointing to me. And you and I haven't spoken yet. I compared it to when I first moved to Waco in 2017. First game I ever saw was Liberty. First, Baylor game I went to was Liberty and Baylor.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, me too. And I think Phil Snow had just been appointed defensive coordinator. And there was a lot going on in the defensive scheme where guys were just, they didn't know if they were on foot or horseback. There was so much going on up here. And I'm seeing that a little bit this year with Baylor. And I thought you would see a little more fast and free play on Saturday against Samford, and you still didn't. So I don't know if they don't have the guys or if they're bogged down with like the Dave Aranda schematic stuff. I got to give him more credit than that. Like, he knows better. He knows how to let guys run around and make plays. But it's almost like he's got too much time now. You know, is he doing too much and putting too much on these guys?
Yeah, that's interesting that you go back. That's a good frame of reference to go back to some of those early days. And I was in that game, that Liberty game, I happened to be in one of those loge boxes. I was not covering the team really at that point, and I went as a fan. And I will say, you know, not that I would ever admit or even try to do anything, you know, drink in public or drink period, really, for that matter. Pete, there were some fridges in those loge boxes, and I've never seen more Baylor fans reaching into those fridges faster than that Liberty game. It was such a bad look from the Bears, and
I was actually spotting that game for Eric Collins was calling the game.
Yeah.
Danny Cannell and AJ Hawk were the analysts. And I love Eric Collins, but if you're spotting for him, after every play, he'd look over at me. I was as a spotter, he'd go, I'd be like, he'd shrug his shoulders. I know it's not good for audio, but he would shrug his shoulders like, hey, who made the tackle? And he'd look at me. I'd be like, I don't know. Didn't you prepare at all? Yeah. No, I love that was his shtick, like the first possession. But honestly, that game, you're probably right down the hallway. And I remember to the naked eye being like, these guys don't know what they're doing on defense. They're so hesitant to make plays. And I've seen that this year with some of the Baylor defensive guys. But I think when you look at their offense, and are we just going to be that team, or is Baylor just going to be that team? I'm showing my affiliation here and how I lean towards them. But yeah. Are they going to just be a fireworks display all year long and not play any defense? I don't know. It's way better than it was a couple years ago when they had the 6 home games and it was like watching paint dry every afternoon. So
yeah, they certainly have the makings of an excellent offense. Scotty's getting mad at me because and again, they thinks it's because my daughter goes there now. This A&M receiving core is scary. Like, I think Baylor's is good, but Casey Concepcion and that Mario Craver right now, and you throw Bussy in there with them, that's the scariest group in the country. But Baylor's got a great bunch. I'm with, I mean, but if they don't shore up, I'm totally with you on a couple things. One is, if they didn't learn what Jackson Arnold did to them, which was embarrassing, from a quarterback run standpoint, just running, it was like he was just like sitting back there, and they're like, well, we didn't know he'd run on that down or something. It's like, who cares? Like, at some point you got to assign somebody to him. Like, sometimes Dave's explanations do not pass muster with me. I'm like, okay, I get that you're the smartest man in America, and I like you, but some of this stuff doesn't hold water. If you let Sam Levitt get outside and you break contain, he's scarier than Jackson Arnold.
Yeah.
Like, you've seen all these guys. Like, he is so fast, and so I'll be interested to see.
So I got rebuttal on that, and it doesn't come from me. This morning we spoke to Danny White on the Pete Sousa show, and he said he's dialed into Arizona State football. He meets with Kenny Dillingham every Sunday. Right. And Dillingham, I think, just understands the tradition of Arizona State football because he's from Tempe, and he leans on Danny White, you know, because, yeah, again, it's probably a tip of the cap to the old guard, but he understands Danny White has a wealth of knowledge. And so Danny White was telling us this morning about those meetings. But, dude, you know what he said? And I'm just like you. I'm like, well, you got to keep Sam Levitt in the pocket. Danny White was like, he's running with the ball way too much. he's lost his presence kind of in the pocket, and he's too quick to run this year. Now, he runs well, right? But I don't know if that takes the air out of some of their offense if he is running more. Like, is that something Baylor would like to see?
No.
No. And you're saying, and you probably make a better point than Danny White does, to be honest. You're saying because of Baylor's deficiencies on defense that a guy like Sam Levitt could absolutely carve him up with his feet, which makes sense.
Unless they get it under control. And
yeah.
I mean, how could you not approach this game and have somebody like Carl Williams or I don't know who their best, I mean, Keaton, whoever you decide from a linebacker or safety. I mean, if you're not spying this guy, what are you doing? What are you even doing? Because you can't expect I mean, like, let's think about how much we love Jalen Petrie, the Baylor people. I mean, he was unbelievable. Think about last night in that game, how many times he came in there. He is one of the greatest players in Baylor history. And that dude could not get his hands on freaking Baker Mayfield. He couldn't. Like Baker kept slipping out of there. And Jalen, who is incredible at that, either was taking the wrong angle, couldn't bring him down in open space. And again, he's an awesome player. Jalen is. But and Levitt is so much faster. Now, again, Baker has he's an NFL guy. He's a pro. He knows how to do all that. But I was just thinking about that. Like, it's going to take a lot, and it'll take a team effort. But where I was going with that, Pete, is like, if you think about who Baylor has, Marshall has not been himself yet because of the injury, right? Lands, Tazino, like, I just haven't seen anybody up front right now that you would go, well, he could chase down Levitt, or he could give Levitt some problems. So to me, man, they're going to have to contain him. For that, and you're going to have to say, okay, beat us with your arm. That's scary too, because I think you guy can throw, and they got an incredible receiver. Yeah.
And that's going to be fun to see Jordan Tyson too, because you mentioned the Baylor wide receivers and comparing them with A&M. It could be. I mean, I know Baylor fans will be sitting on their hands maybe because it could be such a tightly contested contest, but it could be a lot of fun to watch. Like Tim Brando will be up there calling that game on Saturday. You know, he'll be. What do you say? He'll be empty in the chamber for sure, right?
How do you do?
A dipsy do, Dunkaroo over the goalpost for you and me too.
I'll tell you what, when you and I are that age, I think he's about 70.
Yeah.
I hope we're still rolling, doing some good things, and I hope we can find whatever he puts in his hair. I hope we get some good formula.
He's awesome, dude. He really is still really good. The way he introduced Sawyer Robertson last year when Baylor was struggling at Iowa State. And he just does such a good job, Brando does, of building up the game. He was like 6'4", 230, four-star quarterback from Lubbock, Texas. They just make him different out there. Let's keep our Sawyer around. I was like, no. He knows how to build the drama. He is the master.
Oh, I just hate that they broke him up with Spencer
I know.
Tillman. I mean, that was his guy, and I'm sure whoever that he's with is fine, but I thought he and Spencer, I think they just had to break them up. They're like, you guys are, you can't put these two old dudes together or something. I don't know.
I don't know. That was a big mystery to me too. And we talked about it this morning. Listening to your buddy Troy and Joe Buck last night, I hadn't listened to him. I hadn't watched Monday Night Football yet this season. And man, what a blast. I mean, they really are so good because they're such good buddies. And it's like, it is a lot of fun to watch a game that those two are calling. And they do a great job. They keep it very football-y early on. Yeah. But then, like, it'll open up, right? It's pretty cool.
I bet you were like me, though, last night. I want to make sure I look at the time so we can get you out on time. You and I have both been in situations where you got to do a show. You got to go on TV. You got to do the show must go on. And there's really no solution where you go, well, I'll bring in the backup host today or something. Like, we generally have to find a way to use whatever voice we have. And I've at times had to go run, get a steroid shot, chase it with a Z-Pack. Like I'm doing everything I can to
Yeah.
get the voice back, right? And poor Chris Fowler
Yeah.
reported for duty in the late game last night, and he just didn't have his voice to the point where Pete, he was doing his intro, and I didn't know who it was. I was like, wait, who's doing this game? He didn't sound like himself.
No, I heard a highlight, and I was like, wait, who is that? I was like, oh yeah, it's Chris Fowler. It's totally in sync with you there. Yeah.
Had a bad cold.
Well, dude, he's calling, dude, from the U.S. Open to college football to now an NFL game to, oh, by the way, Wimbledon over the summer, which, you're kind of being quiet. But then he also does that EA Sports where they lock him in a room for like a week and a half, and he's just yelling touchdown for every school in the country, interception, give the guy a break. It makes sense.
Well, I mean, like, okay, if you're like you have to use, I mean, they have a whole stable of people. Obviously, Pete, you're in the stable of all the ESPN's announcers, but like McDonough is incredible, and
Yeah.
I know he used to be Monday Night Football, and maybe he didn't want to, his time ended pretty quickly there. But like, you've got people you could have called on. But again, who knows? Maybe it came on him pretty quickly. I think it was already hitting him when he was doing his Saturday game, perhaps.
So he's it all like me or you maybe. You don't say anything because you don't want to ever. You want to be there. You don't want any. We all, and I think Chris Fowler maybe aside from this, or maybe this may not apply to him, but like I know everybody's worried about getting Wally pipped in this business. So you want to show up and you want to do it because you don't want Kessler to come over and all of a sudden now he hits a home run and he's calling games. So with Kirk Herbstreit, you never know.
Yeah, I guess I should have thought about that, but I would like if they would have given me a month off, like in ESPN Dallas, I'd have been like, yeah, just put whoever in. I'd love a month off. But it is Pete Sousa on the Matt Mosley Show, Rogue Media Network, and Pete, I wanted to get you as a lifelong Eagles fan, and this Tush Push is back in the news. I thought that was funny. I don't know if you saw it just within the past few minutes. The Eagles, or the past hour, I guess the Eagles, they were talking to, I don't know, who is the guy, I don't know if it's offensive line coach or the offensive coordinator for Sirianni.
His name's is the new guy, Kevin
Patula or something that.
Yep.
Okay, so he had an interesting point because, again, this is all coming up again because it looked like the Tush Push, it looks like there was false starts and they were moving early. And of course the Chiefs are mad and all this kind of stuff. I mean, like, because the Chiefs have never gotten any help from the officials, by the way. Mahomes has never gotten the benefit of the doubt, right? But Patula said, he had an interesting comment. He said, every time they do the Tush Push, the defense is lining up off sides, which is probably true. Like, if you actually look down the line, and they're putting their entire team up on the line, I'm sure they're lining up off sides to try to stop this. Are you, even some of the Eagles offensive linemen this year were saying they were tired of it. They hated the name of it, calling it the Tush Push. I'm sure you got to see some of that game. It was like I was finishing up all my Cowboys duties, so I wasn't really locked in as you would have been on it. Is what they were doing looked illegal? Do the Chiefs, do they have a beef here, or is this?
My thought is, as long as it's legal. I mean, over the summer, whatever happened, right at the league meetings, and it was not banned. And at that point, it's up to the rest of the league to stop it. The Eagles people are giving them grief because they're saying those guards are getting off the ball too quick. That's any good team in the red zone, especially around the goal line. You're going to have like a little pre-snap, right? And then again, it's up to the officials to call it. I think it's boring, and as a fan, I don't like it. I think it kind of stinks. But it works, and it's just kind of something you live with if you're an Eagles fan. I don't enjoy it. I'm not like, oh, the brotherly shove, or like I don't hang my hat on it. I think it's kind of a goofy play. And it was, I can't believe the NFL didn't stop it, especially after that embarrassment in the NFC Championship, where play kept getting stopped. I forget who it was, Latu or somebody was jumping over every time for the Commanders, and it just was silly.
Oh yeah.
It's something.
That was embarrassing for the league. I guess we have to admit that the greatest podcaster of all time and his brother, speaking of, Jason and Travis Kelce, the impassioned Kelce showing up at the competition committee at the NFL meetings, like that kind of changed everything. Wasn't that unbelievable that he could go in there and like defend it with all his heart? And that really seemed to make an impact on all those teams.
When you're hot, dude. You just got to ride it out. I mean, the Kelce boys are red hot right now, and they certainly were over the summertime. And yeah, I think that's kind of ridiculous. Give the guy some props. I mean, he's charismatic, and I don't know what the heck he said in there, but it's. I don't think much longer will we be seeing it. And I'll tell you what else I saw last night, which I thought was crazy. Not crazy, but the Tom Brady, the revelation of him actually there at the game for the Raiders in a capacity of part, owner, and is he now part of the football ops? Pete Carroll says he talks to Chip Kelly 3 times a week. And there's very much a conflict of interest. And I think I believe, Matt, it's like one of those things. It's the same thing as like Steve Ballmer and like the Kawhi Leonard thing. Like, okay, let's put some money over here, and that's how, we'll pay him so he'll stay with the Clippers. And nobody wants to look over there. It's like and look, where I'm from, and I know there's a ton of money in the Dallas area. Like I've been seeing wealthy people, just kind of get their own set of rules forever. And it just kind of is how it is. And the Tom Brady thing, to me, falls into that category. It's like, look, for Fox, he provides revenue. For the NFL, he provides revenue. The owners voted on him to be able to be that, part owner of the Raiders. And it's another thing that's just kind of like, really? Like it is a total conflict of interest. And if the Raiders start to play well, at some point they probably will. It's just like a numbers game. Like this is going to be a pretty big deal. And I'm surprised that is happening before our eyes.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we're kind of talking with Scotty. Why doesn't Jerry offer Romo a minority interest right now, and then get him involved? And Scotty, of course, is the most over-the-top Romo lover ever. And so that really got him going. But
it was like Roger Staubach or Tony Romo. Who do you got, Pete? I was like, okay, Scotty, that's the next topic.
Some of the Eagles, Carson Wentz, your old quarterback there in Philly land, is going to get a start because who just got hurt?
J.J. McCarthy, right? Is that it?
J.J. McCarthy's hurt. Wentz is going to start for him. And it did bring back memories of going on with Gargano and others in Philly and like literally having a legit argument between who is better between Dak and Wentz. And there was a time you could make an argument for Wentz, and it was brief, but it is unbelievable how.
Right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. That guy who everybody told us, including your friend Sal, pal, and Howard Eskin, who I love, who's kind of gone the way of, I don't know. But everybody was saying, everybody who knew what was going on was reporting that like that locker room is not behind Carson Wentz. They are not behind Carson Wentz. They are not behind Carson Wentz. And everybody wanted to be like, no. And then eventually we saw it. I mean, we saw it when he came back healthy, and they weren't very good after winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and it is amazing that he had everything behind him like that. And it's the most amazing thing is Howie Roseman is headed toward the Hall of Fame, a guy who was riding high, then was put in a cubicle basically when Chip Kelly was there, and then came back and has turned it into a juggernaut. And congrats, the Phillies win the NL East. They clinch the NL East. So it's like, I don't think Philly, usually they kind of enjoy being miserable. So I don't know what people in Philly are doing with all this winning, but
talk about Joel Embiid and complain about it.
Yeah, you'll find something. The Flyers or somebody will do something you don't like. There's always the Sixers to complain about.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you, Pete. Appreciate it. Love the Pete Sousa show. Love everything you're doing. The 12, obviously, the Inside the 12, all the things that you're doing. Appreciate you doing this, man.
Those are the best, dude. I'll see you Saturday, bro.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it. Pete Sousa will be making his way out to